First of all, to what's happening in the legislature, that bill, if it does go through and signed by the governor next week, would not take effect for a year. The first possible complaints against a district attorney would be in April of next year. We could see a Donald Trump trial already underway by that time, or even completed.
I mean, that's certainly possible, Lawrence. And look, the reality of this prosecutor oversight bill, or I should say bills, because there were two of them. One was born in the House of Representatives, HB 231, I believe is the number. And then, of course, we have Senate Bill 92, which is a companion bill. Both of those bills passed their respective houses. Both are now in the other house waiting to be voted on. We have two more legislative days, so it's possible that one or both of these bills will make their way to the floor and will receive a vote. After that happens, assuming they get a majority, which they probably will because Republicans happen with Fani Willis's investigation by then, I think it's safe to say if she does intend to seek indictments, we will know that in advance of when this commission goes into effect. But again, there's still a lot of mystery surrounding who her specific targets are at this point and what charges she is considering at this point, in addition to whether or not Mr. Trump is in fact a target of that investigation and, whether he may or may not be indicted. So there are lots of things that are unknown. But all of the things you heard Fani Willis say in her testimony, we have been hearing echoing through the chamber of the General Assembly by members from all over the place, including Republican DAs and solicitors who are against this bill for the reasons she named and for other reasons.
I want to go back to your days as an assistant district attorney in Fulton County. You were serving at the same time that Fani Willis was an assistant district attorney there, I assume. What is your expectation, based on your experience there, about a possible timetable here? As I understand it, there wouldn't be any indictments in the month of April because there is no grand jury sitting in the month of April that could deliver that, or has something to do with grand jury schedules, and that we should be thinking in terms of May as the first possible moment where we could get indictments in Georgia.
Well, I will say this about Fani Willis. I think, and I've said this before, I've been asked this question a lot. She is a straight shooter. She will usually tell you exactly what is on her mind. She doesn't, play close to the chest. Normally, you understand where she's coming from. Again, this is a very important historic indictment. If she decides to bring it, I think she will be careful. I think she will want to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I do not see her rushing to get this done. But I do think they have been working very diligently on this case for a long time now. And I do think that based on some of the things that we have heard or suspect came out as evidence before this special grand jury, there is plenty of stuff there that she could potentially bring criminal charges on if the evidence, in fact, supports it. We know that she's looking at RICO as a possible charge. RICO in Georgia is a very broad statute. It has tons of predicates, everything from perjury to making false statements or writings in connection with government activities, to obstructing an investigation. So there are lots of things that she can do, lots of ways she can craft this indictment. She is a very experienced prosecutor with RICO. Again, she's tried one of the biggest RICO cases in the state of Georgia. It was a historic trial. She was the lead prosecutor on that. She is very nimble with that statute, and an excellent prosecutor in the courtroom. She is a prosecutor's prosecutor. So what I think we will see from that district attorney's office is more work to make sure that when they give birth to this indictment, if that is what in fact they choose to do, it is comprehensive, it is far-reaching, and they have the evidence to support it.